Hey, folks, Fantasy Football Island here. I'm Tito Jeff Thidoff. Follow me on Twitter at ThidHappens. He is Chad Rink at Chad Ochorinco. Is that right? At Chad Ochorinco?
Chad Ochorinco.
Where he is on Twitter. You'd think I'd know that because I follow you, but I don't. Anyway, Fantasy Football Island here on Fantasy Sports, powered by DSP Media. Make sure you go check out the app. It's a free app. You can download it for Apple and Android users. Get all of our around-the-clock programming. Lots of new stuff coming out all the time that you'll want to get. Go to fantasysports.com, newly designed website. Check out all the content there as well. And then also go to Fantasy Sports, the Facebook page, and you can interact with the hosts and whatnot there at that. But we are now, we just wrapped up week 2 in fantasy football, and we've got waiver wire stuff. I mean, a lot of injuries going on right now. You want to start with the quarterback injuries? Because, look, the Joe Burrow one is so huge.
Yes.
And, typically we said to people, don't use early round picks on quarterbacks unless it's a super flex or 6-point passing touchdown league, whatever it was there. And all the drafts I did, there's one league that I help a guy run his team, and he was adamant about getting Burrow and Chase. And so I don't know. I don't think Jake Browning's the answer.
He's not. Like, if you injuries are going to happen, and you really you can't predict them, but you can kind of say some guys are probably more injury prone, it seems like. But I never go in thinking, okay, most of the time I'm not drafting this guy because he may get injured, especially like a guy like Burrow, where you just never know. Anyone can get injured at any time. But yeah, Jake Browning, if they stay with him while Burrow is out, he can be serviceable because he can run. So he can get you some rushing touchdown upside. He was not great with 3 interceptions, but fantasy-wise, he did put up decent points. And with Chase and Higgins, that offense, whoever's running that offense quarterback-wise for the most part, is probably going to be an okay fantasy asset. Probably not like Burrow.
Right.
But if you're in a pinch, like if you have Burrow and you're in a 12-14, if you're in a 10 team, you could probably find somebody else that might still be out there because most teams aren't carrying 3 quarterbacks.
Right.
So Browning is an option, I think, if you're in a super flex or if you're a Burrow owner and you just don't like any of the other ones, but they could go out and get somebody. Jameis is probably the one guy that they would look at because Cousins is out there, but they're not like the Bengals are not spending money on Cousins.
There's no way they're going to do that. And so another name I saw floated out there was, would the Bengals call about Flacco? Would the Bengals make a call about Anthony Richardson? And look, Richardson's got the highest ceiling, I would think, of all those guys we just talked about, but he's also got the lowest floor. He has not looked good what I've seen so far, but Burrow's just one of those injuries out there. We had a lot going, like the Brock Purdy thing is still going on. Purdy's out for another few weeks. J.J. McCarthy also out for the Vikings, which might be better for the Vikings anyway. Carson Wentz in there now. Hey, Justin Jefferson owners, rejoice. Justin Fields concussion protocol, Jaden Daniels knee injury. Well, that's 5 guys. And look, most people didn't draft McCarthy, but the other 4, I got to believe Fields, Purdy, Daniels, and Burrow all got drafted in most leagues. Those are significant hits. Because Burrow was your number 1, Daniels is your number 1. Yep. Burrow's out now. They're saying 3 months.
Yes.
I don't know if Fields was your number 1. Purdy might have been, but it's just it's amazing how much that can impact what you're doing here now. And if you're looking at backup quarterbacks to grab, I mean, Browning's probably the best option right there as far as where you get like you said in a 12-team league. But I'm trying to think, is there another quarterback like if Daniel Jones is available, you grabbing him?
I think so. I mean, I'm not buying that he's going to be this great all year, but he's looked decent, and I think they're going to run with him because I think they trust him more than Richardson. So if Jones is out there, he'd probably be the one, even over Browning. Browning's going to be the best backup, I think, to get because I think he's going to be there 3 months.
Right.
Where Carson Wentz, he could be a couple weeks. He could be a month, and then they decide to go back to McCarthy. Plus, we haven't seen Carson Wentz probably throw a ball in 9 years. I don't know.
Seems like that. Yes, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
Super Bowl,
yes,
probably. So there's that. Tyrod Taylor, I mean, he's just going to be as long as Fields is out. And I've always liked Tyrod Taylor, but that Jet offense is not great. It's going to be interesting because I guess the Commanders go with Mariota over Josh Johnson. I would think, yes.
I would think so, yep.
Mariota has been an okay fantasy quarterback. That offense is pretty decent. So Mariota could be interesting depending on how long Daniels is out.
Would you prefer Mac Jones or Matthew Stafford?
I would Stafford.
I think Stafford too. How about Mac Jones or Russell Wilson?
Mac Jones, because I still not sold on Russ, even though he's either first or second in passing yards, I think, this year.
Yeah.
But I still say at some point, like, they're going to go to Dart.
They have to. Don't they have to?
Because they're not going to, like, roll off 8 wins.
No.
I mean, they couldn't even beat the Cowboys, and, like, they scored, 40 or whatever?
Right,
37 on them?
Yeah, so, 40 to 37.
Yeah. So, Russ is just waiting to get benched. So,
if you're a Joe Burrow owner, then do you waste a waiver claim? I shouldn't say waste because that's already giving you my answer. Do they use a waiver claim on a quarterback, or should a Joe Burrow owner wait until after waivers run, keep your spot in the line, and pick up a free agent after it all runs through?
Yeah, if you're in the top 3 or 4, I probably would not.
Even though the quarterback's going to get picked up by other teams, though, right? Like, they're going to use waiver. You might end up having nothing there by the time waivers run. Right, it's kind of a risky thing.
Yeah, but I'm still, like, if you're in a 12 team, if everyone has 2, like, you have a backup, I would imagine. If everyone has 2, there's 24 quarterbacks. There's still 8 quarterbacks that are starting. So I don't know if Jake Browning is going to be the guy that's going to save your team with Burrow being out.
Right.
I would rather just pick up, like, if Spencer Rattler is there. Honestly, like, I would rather not lose my spot in the waiver order on a guy like Jake Browning or Carson Wentz or Mac Jones. Because most of, like, like I said, Browning will be the only one because I think the long term of it.
Sure. But familiarity with the offense.
Yeah. Also, but you got to remember, at some point, someone could get hurt here in the next couple of weeks, and then that guy is the Kyron Williams, or Chuba Hubbard from last year, and then you're going to be, I wish I would have had the Jake Browning sitting on, giving you like 9 points a week. And
God, I hope your league has an IR spot.
Yeah,
I hope it does, because if it doesn't, I know our league, or the big league we don't have an IR spot. So I say it to you, knowing that my league, we don't have an IR spot, which probably we should. We got huge rosters anyway. But nonetheless, so yes, it is a devastating injury for Joe Burrow. We'll see how devastating it is for the Bengals, because all their skill positions now. We'll take a look at that. Let's move over to running backs now. And one of the things that I have found interesting so far is the way the Steelers have used Kenneth Gainwell. Because I said it before, I don't want Gainwell to be my number 1 back on my team, like as far as an NFL team. I don't want to be the number 1 back. As a matter of fact, I'd rather be the number 3 back in Pittsburgh, because I do still like Caleb Johnson, even though he can't get out. Made a mistake again last week in the kickoff, which was awful.
Yes.
But nonetheless, where do you stand on Gainwell? Is he pick upable? How about that?
I think if you're in like a deep league, if you're in like a dynasty, maybe grab him just to have some depth. But he's just going to be a part-time guy unless one of those guys gets hurt, or if Caleb Johnson just continues to make bonehead plays. So, but he is. But if you're in a 10-team league, probably not.
I don't think so either.
No.
Is there a running back you have your eye on though? Like,
I'm telling you, there's one. Like I said, this week is like to quote Meatloaf.
Yes.
There ain't no Coupe de Ville hiding in the bottom of a Cracker Jack box this week. So sorry if you did. Last week was pretty decent. They had some decent guys. The guy that I would be interested in, and I can't believe I'm saying this in the year 2025 of our Lord, Chase Edmonds.
Really?
Eckler's gone.
Right.
Here's the other thing with fantasy football, #CYT. Like, people were loving Bill Krosky.
Right.
And then he has one bad game, and then they're like off him. Everyone's going crazy. Like, it's nuts. There's like pundits out there that are like losing their mind on stuff because Justin Jefferson was like the 34th receiver, and you had Tony Frank. That's fantasy football. But Chase Edmonds, he is pretty solid out of the backfield. He will probably get 5 receptions a week. That Washington offense is pretty good. Even if Daniels misses, I think Mariota could do much. And if Krosky Merritt just isn't it, because again, he was a 7th round pick. Chase Edmonds could have some value because they really don't have.
I didn't know Edmonds was on a roster.
No, they picked him up.
Okay.
They just picked him up because Eckler went out. So
you like him over Jeremy McNichols?
I think so. I think they know what they have. If McNichols was anything, he would have probably.
That's fair.
They probably wouldn't have drafted Bill.
It's amazing. All the hype around Bill about around Krosky Merritt and around Chris Rodriguez Jr. caught a lot of it was like, oh, they traded Brian Robinson Jr. There must be a new number one there, and no one's really panning out. And then the Eckler injury.
I don't think Chase Edmonds is going to be the Kyron Williams, but Chase Edmonds can be serviceable for a few weeks if you really are in a spot. And we got bye weeks coming up too, so that's the other thing you got to start looking ahead with the bye weeks. And so Edmonds could be because like if they don't get anybody else and Edmonds is splitting time in a Washington offense, like I don't mind taking a chance on that as a flex spot.
Are you? And when I look at the running backs, and you've obviously got your 32 quote unquote number one running backs. Right. Well, you still look at the guys who are number twos that are going to get touches, even though the number one is still healthy and all that. Tyler Algier still stands out to me as somebody who, if you got the bye week situation coming up, or you got a guy who's dinged up a little bit, and especially if you're a Bijan Robinson owner, I'm fine with Tyler Algier on my bench.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised that he's out there because of all the handcuffs. He's probably one of the better ones because he's shown they like giving the ball. He can get 20-25% of the work, sometimes half the work. And if anything happens to Bijan, he's the guy, and he is a very good running back. One
of the guys, as far as receiver wise, there's somebody else on the running back you wanted to mention? Did that come quick?
Yeah.
On the wide receiver side of things, a guy that I started picking up on quite a bit as right before the season started and drafted him a few different times was Wan'Dale Robinson for the Giants, and he had a great game against the Cowboys. And I wonder if he's in look because Neighbors draws a lot of attention, a lot of focus goes, a lot of coverage goes on Neighbors. That leaves Wan'Dale Robinson open out there quite a bit. He is somebody who I like quite a bit for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's going to be a reception monster. Like I was surprised to see how many yards he had because he's usually one of those guys that's going to get you 7-8 receptions. It's going to be like 32 yards,
right?
Because he's on the underneath with Neighbors there. But I do like Wan'Dale Robinson. He's like I said, he's probably the number two there.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to throw like they just are. And so, especially if you're in a PPR league, I really like Wan'Dale Robinson as a pickup. Him and I think the other guy I would like, and I don't think it's a fluke because he's shown flashes, is Troy Franklin.
Okay.
If that team is going to move the ball, throw the ball, he had 8 for 89 and a touchdown. I think he's probably their number two. Because Marvin Mims is really just more of a field stretcher.
But how bad has Courtland Sutton been? Like he's been. It's awful. It's bad production. I'd say. I'm not sure he's a bad receiver. I'm just saying, but he's done nothing. He's a guy all of us loved. I think.
Right. Yeah. And it's just sometimes I was talking to my son about it last night. Like sometimes just like NFL coaches and teams, they try to win games. They don't really care about fantasy. So there was a guy that's on. I do like this guy that does fantasy. But he kind of seems like a D-bag. I'm not going to call him out. I don't want to be like the WWE.
Seems like a D-bag.
But he's the fantasy football counselor.
Okay.
And so, but I like his takes because he's very like contrary to what the consensus is. So he really has good content.
On the D-bag part.
Yeah, but he's like, but he was going off about this stuff like mad that these guys like Courtland Sutton, Justin Shepard, like AJ Brown. I'm like, they still want to win games. He was trying to say like that Vegas is in the headsets and like, but then I'm like, also like it's week 2. Like they scheme up stuff. Like it's football is a marathon.
Yeah.
So you're going to have weeks like Courtland Sutton could suck the first 3 weeks, but then find his way. They played the Colts and I can't remember who they played that week 1.
They played.
They may just have they may have played teams that had good corners.
Right.
And that they play Tennessee. That's right.
Okay, so, Tennessee. That's right.
Yeah. It's just like they're gonna find ways to get whoever they can get their best matchups. So, I think Sutton's gonna be fine. Mm-hmm. He was never like an elite top 12 receiver, I don't think. Anyway, so he's more. I think of that. He ends up as a 15 to top 15, 20. That's really his area anyway. So he's gonna everyone's gonna have weeks like this. Jamar Chase is gonna have a 2 for 18 or something, sometimes, especially with Jake Browning throwing to him. So I do like Franklin as another, but like I said, there's really not guys that I'm like, I need to go get that guy this week.
I can't like DeAndre Hopkins is popping up in a lot of places. I'm not DeAndre Hopkins and Ridley are both just dead to me for the most part. I mean, they're aging receivers that have bounced around a little bit. Let me ask you this. If you, would you then be in favor of trying to buy low on Courtland Sutton?
Yeah, well, that's what I would do. I would try to see if you're strong in some areas and you need a receiver, you need a running back. I would look to buy low on guys now. Like Sutton's one. I don't think you could probably buy low on AJ Brown, but if you
Probably
know the
not.
owner, but like you never know. Or if you're looking, like I know I'm in a league where it's a super flex. And I talked about before, like our quarterbacks are Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence. We do have Russ on our bench, but like I said, I think that's short term for him. So I'm thinking about, and we have Fab. So I think I'm thinking about putting something in for Browning, but I'm like, I'm not sure how much I want to do that. So I'd rather look to trade a lot sometimes if a guy is heavy on quarterback, and they may have 3 or something to try maybe do that instead.
Would you offer up, is it even fair, Chris Olave for Cortland Sutton?
I think I'd rather stay with Olave.
You would in that one, okay.
I think because as bad as the Saints are, I think he's going to get the targets, and I think he's just a better receiver. And in Denver, I think Denver's better, but I think they are going to be able to run the ball more. They got a good defense, so I would rather stay with Olave.
Would you have Jacoby Myers or Cortland Sutton?
I think Cortland Sutton.
Okay.
I like Vegas is fine, like they're going to throw the ball and stuff, but I think Sutton. I would rather have. I'd still rather have a guy that's going to be on a team that's probably going to score 30 a game.
Roma Dunze or Cortland Sutton.
Listen. I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah,
Dunze has looked good. He looks like he's the true one. I don't know if the Bears are as bad as they have looked, but Dunze has looked great. But he had one play where it was a broken coverage. So, but I mean, he's getting the targets. I think I'd rather have a Dunze than Sutton.
I think I'd rather have Sutton. I'll give you one more, then we can move on to tight ends. Would you have Ladd McConkey or Cortland Sutton the rest of the year?
Probably McConkey.
I think I'd rather have Sutton. I could become so invested in the guy, but I think Sutton is. I'd rather have Sutton over McConkey. I'd take Sutton over Dunze. I don't know. I think that it's not so much my belief in Bo Nix or Cortland Sutton. It's my belief in Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking at. Like I feel like there's no way that they won't turn this around, And so that's why my belief is in the coaching staff, not necessarily the receivers. But there was so much hype around Sutton and Nix coming into the season, but they finished last year.
Well, I mean, I still say Denver's the best offense. Denver's probably going to average close to 30 a game. The Bears are not, probably. And so take a chance on the better offenses because they're going to score more points. So Sutton is a pretty good call.
Is it too late? Should we have picked up Juwan Johnson by now?
Yeah. There was one league I did pick him up because we had Kittle and we had nobody else.
Right.
And so, I think if he's still out there, I would get him because it looks like they're just going to throw the ball to him all the time. And did he score again this week?
This past week, he did score. He didn't score in week 1, but he did score last week.
Yeah.
This past week. Yeah. In 2 games, he's got a 13 for 125 and a touchdown on 20 targets. So that's 20 targets for a tight end through 2 games. A guy who wasn't even drafted. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Well, I think because people are off on the Saints, but like I think Rattler's just going to have to check down, and it doesn't seem like they're throwing it to Kamara a lot. And Johnson's a good, like he's got some size. He's put up some games in the past.
He's 6'4", 231.
Yeah. So if he's out there, I would get him because there's probably not many tight ends that are going to get that kind of volume the rest of the year.
Yeah, I would think, and that's what it is. It's all volume with him. That's all that is. It's all the volume with him is what if you not that you're going to get 10 targets a week out of that, or 20 targets every 2 weeks, whatever it's going to be. But it's just going to be with tight ends. If you don't get the elite of the elite, you're just looking for volume and trying to catch lightning in a bottle. Harold Fader Jr. is another guy who a lot of people were on him after he went 9 for 63 in week 1. He had 5 targets on against Baltimore in their 41-17 loss, 5 for 48 there. So he's got 14 targets through 2 weeks, 12 catches, 111. Has not found the end zone yet, but that I can't with the Browns. I don't know who it is. Here it is. Ozzie Newsome. Bring him out there in his prime. Exactly. I'm still not going to take him either. Not with this team, not with this offense, not with that quarterback.
Cedric Tillman has 2 touchdowns, though. So
you're right. He does.
Weeks, so.
But I'd rather be wrong on Tillman than be right about Browns.
Yeah, I think the Browns are just one I'm gonna stay away from unless they play the Bengals again. And then even then they didn't score 20 against the Bengals. Didn't. So there's certain teams like the Saints and the Browns are ones I just didn't want any piece of.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's the Saints for sure, and I don't know if I may have some stock in Olave in one of my dynasty leagues, but I'm not going to get rid of Olave in that scenario. But nonetheless, I look at it though. you look at the offense as a whole, look who's throwing the ball, look who the coaches are, and look at the history. And I can't see any reason to have a Browns player on my team unless it's an IDP league. Then I'll grab Garrett. But other than that, I'm not going to.
Exactly.
There's no offensive players on the Browns. Even look, Judkins came in and got 10 carries to lead the team after not playing at all in the preseason, not showing up at all in preseason. He comes in and gets 10 carries, which says more about, I think, how they really feel about Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford. I thought Jerome Ford would be decent this year until the rookies got going, but looks like Judkins is probably going to be the guy going forward, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And if he's out there, he'd be one I would pick up. He'd probably be the top running back target I would get, but he was probably drafted in most leagues.
Yeah, he probably was, and no one was going to cut him. He didn't have to cut him until they came out the announcement about the fact that we're going to press charges. It was in plenty of time for you for the seasons you could decide to keep him. Whereas if they would have said, he's going to be suspended for 6 to 8 games or something, you might have dropped him, but I doubt it because you probably spent too much draft capital on him because you wanted him. You had to overdraft Judkins to get him. But yeah, tough week for the quarterbacks this past week with all the injuries. Hopefully your season's not over. The Joe Burrow situation, he's out for 3 months, they're saying, and who knows if he'll even come back, because in 3 months the Bengals could be a playoff race, and at that point you just need to probably cut bait and not play Joe Burrow for the Bengals, right? Because it's already gonna be a lost season at that point.
Yeah, I mean, if they go 2-6, if they're out and they know they're out, then Burrow, they would just sit him. Like, there's no way they'd put him in.
But if you're in a dynasty league, make the call about Burrow. Yeah. Just call the guy, and maybe the guy's desperate. Maybe it's a guy who hasn't won much lately or whatever, who's really wants to win this year, is gearing up for this year. I would make calls to the team about Joe Burrow. Just they may tell you go to hell. They may say no way, but just make the call. Send out an email or text something. Say, look, just curious, what are your thoughts on what's the asking price for Burrow, knowing that Burrow probably won't play again this year. Right. So, all right, that's it for us on Fantasy Island. I'm Tito, Jeff Thidoff, @ThatHappens on Twitter. He is @Chad Ocho Rinko on Twitter. He is Chad Rink, and this has been Fantasy Island, DSP Media with FanStream Sports. Download the app. It's free for Apple and Android users. Round-the-clock programming, new stuff coming out all the time. We got a lot of great new shows we're putting together also. Rink will be talking more later on this week. We'll do some stuff with some rankings. We'll talk about all of that. You got a betting show coming up too, right?
Yeah, betting show, and I'll have my DFS show, the Slating Rink, later on this week too.
There you go. How's your bets doing? They're doing all right?
They're doing all right, yeah.
I didn't ask.
Luckily the Bucks pulled it out, and I had the 3-leg money line, and I needed them to pull that out to win, and they did. So
I'm going to Vegas, so I'll have to listen to the chat on that one. I'm going to Vegas on Thursday, so but Rick will be back for all the betting stuff as well. Would have been awkward if you said, no, you know what? It's really been a crappy couple of weeks. Hey, Tim, edit that part out. Thank God you're doing well, though, because now we can talk about it. But this has been Fantasy Island. Tito, Rink, peace.